All right, thanks, guys. We are once again coming off a solid 3-1 day on patreon.com/rockpage. And that's a website that I operate that gives you daily premium sports picks beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. Now, we'll go ahead and talk about that in just a little bit. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and take a look at some Russian Liga Pro table tennis action. All lines and odds taken from the Fox Bet Sportsbook. And we're going to start with Andrei Titov taking on Yevgeny Ilyukin, 5 p.m. Eastern start time. Ilyukin's lost his last 3 straight and is just 2-6 straight up in his last 8. Yevgeny was beaten by Minchikov, Pavlenko, and Titov during that stretch of losses. Matter of fact, Ilyukin's lost his last 2 straight head-to-head matchups with Titov. And speaking of Andrei, he's currently on a nice little 2-match win streak. 4-3 straight up in his last 7 as well. And as stated before, Titov defeated Ilyukin during that stretch of victories, along with beating Nemeshkalo and Komarov as well. Looks like this is a pretty good spot for Titov backers. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Andrei Titov, winning that one outright for some money line cash. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Tuesday's Russian Liga Pro table tennis action. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully you had a great Monday, a great start to your week. I know that we had a great start to our Monday because we had a real nice day picking games on Patreon. Now, before we go ahead and move on with this program here on YouTube, I do want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/rockpage, where once again, we went 3-1 in our 4 premium sports picks on that website yesterday. Good for 75% on the Monday. We're also 19-9 in our last 28 crowd pleaser teasers as well. That's a very good package for us right now as well. Now we do daily premium sports picks on that website beginning at just $1.99 through the end of the month. We also have a bunch of different membership tiers and packages that you can subscribe to. Currently, we have well over 650 members signed up and active on that page. We'll bill you the day you sign up, and then the first of every month following that. Now, you might be wondering, why would all those folks sign up to receive Patreon picks where they can get them here for free on YouTube? And that's certainly a great thought, a great consideration. But there is a big problem with me handicapping every single game on the board, side and total. And the problem with that is this. If you were to bet every single game on the board that I put out here on YouTube, side and total, you're certainly you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself failure. And I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. If you're going to bet every single game that's on the slate with your hard-earned money, it's certainly not a winning formula for success. And as a matter of fact, it's downright a recipe for disaster. The books are way too smart. They're way too sharp. They certainly have a whole lot more money than you and I do combined to be able to absorb that kind of action. And most important, here's the kicker. This is the most important part. The math becomes aggressively against you the more and more games you play like that. So what I do on Patreon is I make life a lot easier for you. I break it down and focus in on just 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're high percentage picks, games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current Patreon record is a whole lot better than it is here on YouTube, handicapping every single game on the board, side and total. And the good news is this. If you want to go ahead and check out my current Patreon record, you can actually do that for free right now. It's located right on the Patreon homepage. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. I'll also include a link in the comment section below as well. And once again, that website is patreon.com/rockpage. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines and personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Alex Gribkov taking on Dmitry Kolesnikov, 5:30 p.m. start time. Kolesnikov is the $1.40 favorite. Alex is the even money underdog. Now, don't get me wrong, both men really struggling as of late. That said, though, Gribkov's garnered himself victories against Troyanov and Kolesnikov within his last handful of matches. And speaking of Dmitry on the other side, he's playing downright bad. 6-match losing streak for him. Losses to Troyanov, Ivanov, and Lyfenko, just to name a few. Not a great spot for Kolesnikov backers here, laying the 40-cent juice. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Alex Gribkov, getting the job done for some even money cash. Next contest, it is going to be Andrei Ovechnikov taking on Vlad Shirokov, 5:30 p.m. start. Vlad is the $1.75 favorite. Ovechnikov is plus $1.25. Ovechnikov really not playing his best as of late. 3-match losing streak currently for him, along with dropping 4 out of his last 5. Even worse, Andrei was shut out in 2 out of those 4 losses. Now, Shirokov on the other side, nice 3-1 victory over Andrei in their last head-to-head meeting. Shirokov has also shut out Vlad Mirovic 3-0 within his last couple of matches. Expensive price point here, not a terrific spot for bettors. That said, though, Vlad should finish this one on top. So give me Vlad Shirokov, minus 175, winning this one outright for some pricey moneyline cash. All right, next contest, it is going to be Roman Pavlenko taking on Stan Bykov, 5:30 p.m. start time. Bykov's the plus 110 underdog in this matchup here. Roman's laying $1.50. And if you're leaning toward the chalk in this one, might not be a bad play for you here. Roman's won his last 4 straight matches. Victories over Ilyukin, Minchenkov, and Bykov during that stretch. Matter of fact, Roman's won his last 2 straight head-to-head matchups with Bykov, including a 3-0 shutout victory. And speaking of Stan, he's lost his last 2 straight matches, while also losing 5 out of his last 7 as well. Stan was also shut out in 2 out of his last 3 losses. In addition to all of that, not a great spot for Stan backers despite catching the plus money. I'm going to go ahead and lean Roman Pavlenko minus 150, getting the job done for some money line cash. All right, next contest, it is going to be, hey, you guessed it, Stan Bykov right back on the table, this time taking on Yevgeny Ilyukin, 6 p.m. start time. Ilyukin's right in the middle of a 3-match skid where he also dropped 6 out of his last 8 as well. Yevgeny suffered losses at the hands of Titov, Minchenkov, and Pavlenko during that stretch. Ilyukin has also lost his last head-to-head matchup with Stan, 3-2. And speaking of Stan, he's beaten Titov, Minchenkov, and Ilyukin within his last handful of contests, despite struggling a little bit as of late. This actually isn't a terrible, spot for Bykov backers against a sputtering Ilyukin. So give me Stan Bykov winning this one straight up in a close one. Next matchup, it is going to be Dmitry Kolesnikov squaring off against Yaroslav Troyanov in a 6 o'clock Eastern battle. Troyanov's won 3 out of his last 5, including 2 hard-fought victories against Kolesnikov during that stretch. Yaro has also defeated Andrei Gribkov during that stretch of victories as well. Meanwhile, Kolesnikov on the other side is playing some terrible ping-pong right now, losing his last 6 straight. He once again is 0-2 in his last 2 head-to-head matchups with his opponent. Not a real good spot for those backing Dmitry, in my opinion here. Give me Yaroslav Troyanov winning that one straight up in a close one. All right, next contest I have for you, it is going to be George Vladimirovich Vanin taking on Vlad Shirokov, 6 p.m. start time. Vlad's the $1.25 favorite. Meanwhile, Georgy Vladimirovich Vanin, or GVV as I like to call him, is the minus 110 underdog in this spot here. And speaking of GVV, he's won 5 out of his last 7 matches, including 2 dominant shutout victories during that span. He's beaten Krokin, Petrov, and Ovechnikov during that stretch as well. Now, Shirokov on the other side has somewhat struggled with GVV lately, splitting their last 2 matches, but being shut out 3-0 in his loss. Not enough equity in this spot here for Vlad backers, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Georgy Vladimirovich Vanin, also known as GVV, minus 125, getting the job done for some money line cash. All right, next contest, it is going to be Vad Krokin facing off against Andrei Ovechnikov in a 6:30 p.m. showdown. Ovechnikov is the $1.60 dog, Krokin's minus 225. But despite being the heavy favorite in this spot here, Krokin's lost 2 out of his last 3, including an embarrassing shutout loss to Petrov during those matches. He's also posted a lackluster record of just 3-4 straight up in his last 7, along with being shut out in 2 out of those 4 losses. Ovechnikov, on the other side, has marquee wins over the likes of Petrov and Shirokov, within his last handful of contests. So really good price point here. Solid value in this number here. I think we have a live dog in this spot. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the $1.60 dog in this one. Give me Vad Kroken plus 160, getting the job done for some plus money cash. All right, next matchup, it is going to be Nikita Lyfenko taking on Alex Gribkov, 6:30 start time. Gribkov's plus $1.20 on the money line. Nikita's minus $1.65. Nikita's 4-3 in his last 7, including a convincing shutout victory at the expense of Yaro Troyanov. Nikita also defeated Dmitry Kolesnikov and Alex Gribkov during that stretch. And speaking of Alex, he's certainly not putting forth his best effort recently. He's lost 6 out of his last 7 matches. Not a great spot for Gribkov backers despite catching the plus money. I'm going to lean Nikita Lyfenko getting the job done in a close one. All right, next and final matchup for the show, it is going to be Andrei Titov versus Roman Pavlenko, 6:30 p.m. start time. Pavlenko's the $1.40 favorite. Titov's plus $1. Now, Titov's dropped 3 out of his last 5, including an embarrassing 3-0 shutout loss at the hands of Stan Bykov. Pavlenko on the other side, a little bit different story for him, as he's currently in the middle of a 4-match win streak. He took care of Bykov, Ilyukin, and Minchikov during that span. He's also coming off a dominating 3-0 shutout over Stan Bykov coming into this contest. Pretty good spot for Pavlenko backers, in my opinion. Not too bad of a price point either. I'm going to go ahead and lean Roman Pavlenko minus 140, getting the job done for some money line cash. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some shout-outs. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/rockpage, where once again we went 3-1 yesterday in our premium picks on that website. Shout out to my good friend Barton Wood, James Hammond, Mr. B, my good friend Mark Baldwin. Always good to see Mark in the comment section. Shout out to John Klotz, Andy Raphael, Jimmy Gold. Love that name, Jimmy Gold. Shout out to Black Rogue, Serban Sergu. Shout out to my good friend Hustle Wilson. Always good to see Hustle in the comment section as well. Shout out to Josh Villalobos. Shout out to Going Crazy, Sergeant AR10, The Ding Man, C. Dinger, Leon CRI, and last but certainly not least, got to give a shout out to Armando Garcia. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/rockpage.